Lena is a stewardess whose plane lands in Chile. The captain and flight attendants are driving a van, which has come to a halt due to a blocked street. Protests against inflation and food shortages are ongoing. When she sees her long-distance boyfriend Daniel, she gets out of the vehicle. He notices her too, approaches her, and they kiss. She wanted to surprise him, so she didn't let him know she was coming. They head to his apartment. She looks around and notices photographs and posters, claiming he's been active. He claims he didn't travel to Chile for nothing. Lena claims he passed the home inspection, but he still needs to be searched, and they make out. Later he takes Lena to a meeting of his movement. He is brought on stage and delivers a speech. He moved to Chile 4 months ago, and now considers it his home nation. Daniel feels that they all need more solidarity, and that the pain of many should not be used to build wealth for a few people. The audience cheers. The following morning, he prepares breakfast but appears to have forgotten to put on pants. She snatches his camera and begins snapping pictures. He chases after her, says, "I love you," and they begin kissing. Later, he develops the photographs. She compliments him on his excellent vision and thinks they have improved significantly. When they get to bed, Daniel tells her he can't believe she has to leave in 2 days and invites her to stay with him. Lena says she can't remain, but perhaps he can return to Germany. The following morning, Daniel receives a call. He is informed that there has been a military coup. General Pinochet has seized over. President Allende's followers have been jailed, and Daniel's university posters have been confiscated. They are approaching his apartment, so they must escape immediately. When they go to the street, the military lines them up. He begins snapping inconspicuous photographs of the chaos. A shot is fired, and people flee in terror, but the military apprehends them and beats them. He continues to take photos and begins to walk closer for better shots, but is discovered. They grab his camera and begin hitting him as well. Lena tries to stop them, but her efforts are unsuccessful. They are transported to a stadium. Daniel claims they are foreign citizens, but is ignored, given a hit to the stomach, and told to get in line and be quiet. A general informs the public that law and order are being established in Chile, and that everybody who has been mistakenly detained will be released soon. Soldiers have orders to shoot anyone who moves or speaks. They are transported to the center of the stadium, where a helicopter lands. A general and a man wearing a sack over his head walk out. He points out Allende sympathizers in the crowd. The first is taken away, but the second is his support for their opponents, and he is shot. He walks past Daniel, then takes his second look and tells him he made the posters. He gets transferred to a bus and driven away. Lena is released from the stadium. There are dozens of people searching for their loved ones. She returns to Daniel's flat to find it wrecked. Lena travels to the Allende supporters for answers. They notify her that he has been brought to the colony of dignity. She insists they need to get him out, but they declare they can't do anything about Daniel and will go into hiding. Daniel awakens chained to a metal bed. A man steps in and begins grilling him. Daniel claims that he is German and is innocent. The dude begins electrocuting him. The army beats and tortures him until Pius shows up, appearing to be a caring savior. Pius says he's here now and there's no risk, so Daniel can relax. Lena visits Amnesty International, a global movement dedicated to ending human rights violations. The man informs her that the Colony of Dignity is a long-standing, reputable, and government-approved business. He then signals her to remain silent, and they pretend she has left. He then starts playing loud music and informs her that he is being bugged and that they can now chat. He informs her that her boyfriend is a member of a cult led by Pius, who fled Germany after World War II and established his own world in the middle of nowhere. She asks if she can get in, but is told she may never come out. Lena leaves a letter for the pilot, stating that she will not be there and asking him to cover for her on the next week's flight. She dresses as a nun, boards the bus, and heads south. When she is off, the driver tells her to walk toward the mountain. She walks through the fields and comes across a fenced-off area in the woods with guard towers. Lena reaches the gate and a hatch opens, revealing a woman exclaiming, "God bless." She reacts the same and is escorted inside by Gisela, a senior cult member. She leads her to a building and asks if she wishes to join them. Lena says yes and expresses her desire to follow the Lord. Gisela collects her passport and other belongings, places them in a box, and moves them to another room, claiming she won't need any of them. As Lena looks around, a boy exits a different room. She sees him crying and asks if he's okay, but Gisela returns and tells her to leave him alone because it's none of her concern. A mother takes the child, asking him to pull himself together and stop weeping. Gisela tells Lena that it's her turn to enter the room and make a general confession. She enters and sees Pius, the cult leader. He asks for her name and informs her that once she joins, she must remain. Lena agrees. He tells her she is attractive and should have a lover. Lena rejects this and claims to desire to follow the Lord, but he can tell from her eyes and spirit that she is not being true. Pius then asks her to remove her apron and unzip her blouse. When she does, he declares gray rags on the outside and prostitutes' instruments beneath. He then stands up and scents her, claiming that he can smell the beast of hell. He continues to interrogate her fiercely on whether she rejects Satan, fleshly sins, and all falsehoods and deception. Finally, he asks why she's here, to which Lena says that she's there for Pius because she needs him. He believes she has finally spoken truthfully and hugs her. Gisela says that men, women, and children live separately because it benefits everyone. She leads her to the women's hostel and tells Lena to place a bandage around her breasts and remove her shoes because she resembles a prostitute. The other women get back from work in the evening. Lena greets them, but they don't answer or make eye contact. When Gisela leaves, a woman next to her, Dora, asks whether she is from outside, and Lena responds yes. Dora begins chuckling and asks if she can tell her a secret, revealing that she may be getting married soon. Men and women live apart, which confuses Lena. Gisela returns, interrupting their talk, and begins handing out obligatory tablets without explaining what they are. The following day, Daniel is examined by a doctor, who is appalled by his state. She believes the electric shocks may have injured his cortex. According to Pius, everyone has something positive to contribute. Meanwhile, Lena is working with other ladies to gather potatoes. She gets dizzy and collapses on the ground. Gisela begins flogging her, calling her a lazy woman. Lena claims she just needs some water. Gisela provides a bucket of water, but Lena is not allowed to drink it and must carry it around. Lena cries herself to sleep that night. 1 week has passed. There has been a scheduling change, and all women are directed to the women's hall. Lena gets to ask Dora about her fiancé. She explains that they just met once, 3 years ago at the mixed parade, and have been in love ever since. Pius is spouting a lot of holy stuff, and the men are cheering at every word. He's attempting to resuscitate a deceased individual. The women are in the adjacent room channeling their energy or something. Some guy steps up in front of the microphone and claims that they all heard God's word through Pius, but that their wish cannot be granted because there is too much sin in their society. They begin wailing. Another month passes. Daniel, who is mentally challenged and names himself Hans, is taken to a blacksmith. The doctor informs him that Hans is as dumb as they come and that he only needs to keep an eye on him. The blacksmith assigns him a worthless work, and Daniel plays the role. When the blacksmith leaves, Daniel investigates his surroundings and discovers a camera in a darkened chamber. He gets caught, but he plays dumb and claims he has to be. While working, Gisela pulls Lena away and begins discussing the marriage. Lena says the groom's name, dieter, as if it were common information. At night, Gisela enters and grabs Dora, who is crying and struggling. She forgets to lock the door, so Lena follows to see what they are doing. She looks out the window and sees all of the men in the room, with a child sitting in front and Dora looking troubled. Piss instructs the child to pause and sniff the air. He claims that it still stinks and that even the divine singing could not drive the devil away. The men agree with what Pius says and exaggerate his feelings. Pius asks Dieter what he thinks of this nasty, stinky cow. He appears uncertain but admits it stinks. He is then asked to come up and relieve her of the stink. Pius claims that he can smell devils and that they must be chased out. Dora pleads for mercy, but Pius replies, "Whatever we do with love." Dieter begins punching her and all the men cheer. Lena discovers Daniel among the crowd. Pius then invites the other men to assist Peter, but Lena notices and goes back to the hostel. Haya begins hitting Gisela for failing to shut the door, unaware of which of the women it was. The next day, Lena finds Ursel alone and inquires about Dora's condition. Ursel claims she will survive. Lena then inquires as to how she might be taken to the men's meeting, as Dora was. The women are working in the field, and Gisela becomes distracted, so Lena runs off and goes swimming. Later, Lena is summoned to the men's meeting for contaminating the water with her filthy naked body, but she is unable to see Daniel. Pius explains that all women are full of lies and dishonesty and must be cleaned. The men begin to cleanse, but a loud horn interrupts them. Daniel has attempted to flee and has triggered an alert. He attempts to jump over the fence but becomes electrified and passes out. They find Daniel but do not punish him because they believe his brain is fried from the treatment, and he simply wandered away. 3 months pass. Pius is in the guy's dormitory, and they sing for him. He makes his choice for the day, and 3 of them go shower. He enters shortly after. There is a mixed procession, and everyone wears their best clothing, and is told to smile and wave their flags as cars drive by. Daniel finally sees Lena for the first time after 130 days together. She invites him to meet at the potato shed at night. Pius sells guns to the government and provides torture services. Thus, the authorities ignore this situation. The general also wants to purchase the deadly gas they make, but he wants to test if it works first. Pius eventually finds a use for Daniel. Daniel volunteers for security duty and travels to see Lena. He apologizes for bringing her here, but Lena explains she joined up to find him. Daniel reveals that they don't hide anything from him because they believe his brain is fried. Men, women, and children are segregated because family provides a sense of belonging. He occasionally permits them to meet in order to have children, but he separates the children from their moms at 3 months, so they never know who their parents are. While they are talking, he steps on a hatch and descends to a well-lit tunnel. Gisela returns for Lena as her shift ends. Daniel stays down and explores. When he discovers the chamber where he was tortured, he experiences memories and decides to destroy the equipment. The following morning, Lena is requested to view Pius over the speakers. He rambles on how you can't trust women with brains because they get lost easily, and he orders her to spy on Ursel because he suspects she's planning something. He arranges for them to see each other again. Lena understands that Ursel despises being here, so they are honest with each other. Ursel says her mother, Gisela, brought her to the facility when she was 9 years old. Later that day, Daniel will have a medical examination. He's drooling and repeating weird things others say. As he goes, he accidentally drops the crucifix. Ursel opens it and discovers a photograph of himself and Lena. That night, Daniel explains that there is a network of tunnels beneath the campus that connects most of the structures. He also believes he has located the exit because it is the only tunnel blocked by steel bars. They need to depart tonight since the deadly gas will be tested on him tomorrow. Daniel wants to bring attention to this location, so he used the workshop's camera to photograph the tunnels. Lena claims they wouldn't be here if he hadn't taken photos in the first place. They are interrupted by the sound of Gisela's tractor, and Daniel returns to the tunnels but drops one of the photographs. Lena conceals it behind a pail. Gisela drops Ursel off, but she forgets her knife, so she runs to get it. They begin talking and quickly discover that they were both assigned to spy on each other. Lena questions why Pius is doing all of this. She believes it's because he enjoys power in little boys. She informs Lena that she discovered the photo in the cross and is aware that they are preparing an escape, as well as that she is pregnant. Gisela returns and discovers Lena still holding the same potato, so she orders her to move. She picks up the pail and finds the photograph. Pius is interrogating her when Daniel appears and claims to have discovered it, leading them to the blacksmith's darkroom. They discover all of the images in the blacksmith's journal, so Pius believes he betrayed him and lets Lena leave. Gisela is taking her back when Lena sees Daniel in the darkness and hits Gisela with a branch. Pius believes he has been missiled by this point, and everyone rushes to find Lena and Daniel. They rush back to Ursel, enter the tunnels, and Daniel cuts the lock. They manage to go outdoors, but Roselle steps on a tripwire, is shot, and dies immediately. Lena and Daniel grab a ride and make it to the German consulate, where they show the images. They are handed passports, but are told that their flight is only in a week. Lena phones the pilot and gets 2 seats on today's flight. The lady is upset and makes a phone call. 2 diplomats take them into the airport via an underground door and place them in a room, stating that they will retrieve them as soon as boarding begins. They escape through the window after seeing Pius meet with them and realizing they are locked up. They dash through the airport, out onto the runway, and drive a baggage car to the plane. Pius pulls some strings, and the tower cancels the flight permit. After some thought, the pilot takes off, and they make it out of Chile. The smuggled photo sparked a massive global scandal, yet the Chilean authorities did nothing. The colony of Dignity was allowed to continue operations for an additional 17 years, until Pinochet was deposed and Chile transitioned to democracy. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to watch more videos like this.